Like if you want your picture with Nick Walker, you should maybe even go like an hour early.
Whew.
Right,
and like linger around as they set up Nick's booth. Like, I would recommend if you're that type of a fan and it's maybe your one chance to meet some of these guys. Because like, you know, in my personal experience, you know, I'll stroll into the Meet the Olympias like 2 hours after it started. And, you know, Ronnie's line is like an hour wait.
Yeah.
And there's people that are in that line where they're going to get to meet Ronnie, and that's all they're going to get to do.
Yeah.
Right? Or Bumstead's line. Forget about it.
Oh,
right?
yeah. Don't even try.
Go there now for Bumstead's line.
Yeah.
Right there now. Set up a tent. Yeah. Hey, everybody. Welcome to It's Just Bodybuilding. Big Ron Partlow here with Dusty Hanshaw and then producer Scott McNally. Remember to like, share, subscribe, comment, and
Ring the bell.
Ring the bell. Remember, IamMutant.com. Get your 20% off by using Dusty20, and Big Ron 20.
You tried to give them a wrong name, so they couldn't use my code.
I tried to slide that in.
Dustin20.
Am I in trouble already?
I don't know why it's not working.
Just use the Big Ron code. It's fine. It's all the same.
Yeah. Dustin 20 and Big Rob 20.
Yeah.
Use your codes and save 20% off. Keep us employed. And remember the Think Big Bodybuilding Media Patreon.
Thank you, guys.
Keep the producer homed. Keep the new equipment coming and all that. But the IamMutant.com, hit that up. Everyone should get their ISO surge. They're all in, and everyone should get on the gear. Okay, gentlemen. Dusty put up a question box, which is very helpful for us this week because I was extremely busy lately, and I'm woefully unprepared for almost everything I have to handle today, not just the show.
All right,
but
that
like,
makes sense. You know,
I have a whole list of things that I have to do today, and I'm like, oh, didn't think of any of those this weekend. So that's where I'm at. What's going on with you?
You know, it was a bit of a scramble this morning because I went, you know, as soon as the dogs see the ring light, they know they get a bone.
Yeah, that's what's going on right now too.
They start spinning. Well, I bought these new bones, and as soon as I open the package, they have a smell to them.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, crap. So I had to grab every blanket I could find to cover the couch before the show started so I can just wash the blankets after this show is over. You know, because we have that the Lovesac couch, so you can wash the couch itself, but that's not as easy as washing a couple of blankets. So it was like immediate mode of getting all these on while Scott was waiting for me to join. But we're good. They have their bones. Yeah, the couch is covered. I will not get in trouble when Nikki gets home, so we're good.
Perfect.
Okay.
I already mentioned her, so fuck that guy.
Yeah.
The key to a successful marriage. The key to a successful marriage is just trying to not get in trouble. You know what I mean?
Do my best.
You know. Yeah. Okay. What's the main topic? We didn't even discuss main topic.
No, we didn't. But we're 3 weeks out from the Olympia. So.
Oh yeah, that.
I'm excited.
About the Arnold then.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to get to meet everybody. I don't know. Is it too early to do our we're all excited for the Olympia. What should everybody do? Because I like doing that show. You know what I'm saying? Every year. But I think are we close enough yet to do that?
I think we are.
Yeah, okay.
I think we are.
Okay.
I've been getting messages from people already.
If you're going, hey, by this point, you know what I mean?
Yeah, people are like, hey, I'm not staying in the hotel where the Olympia is at. Which hotel do you think I should book at?
Yeah.
Like that sort of thing. And, you know, like my answer to all these questions is I don't care. Do your thing. Right?
My problem.
Next topic.
Next topic. Yeah. So I'm just going to pull up the Olympia weekend. I want to look at the schedule if we're going to talk about it.
Okay.
I think that everyone should make sure they stop by the Dragon's Lair to not get a workout in while they're there.
Oh, yeah.
Because
just
Flex,
wall-to-wall.
It's just wall-to-wall people. But if you want to go see people and maybe train with dumbbells, that is a great weekend to do that.
One cable. You get one cable.
Ron and I have never trained at the Olympia or the Arnold, really. I mean, maybe one time we will.
Lies.
There's no training that takes place during those weekends.
Lies. That's where I met you for the first time, Dusty Hanshaw.
That was back in the day when I had to do it still.
Oh,
you gotta remember. There's a time in my life where there was no missing. I was waking up at like 4 a.m.
Oh yeah.
I think you were there like 6 a.m. that day when we were training before the Arnold.
That was so. Here's the deal. I met you at the Arnold. Was that the first time? That was the second time I saw you. That was at the Arnold. That was so. I must have been stalking you or something. Just just go to the gyms and wait for him. That was like 5:36 in the morning, and there was room. But I met you for the first time at that gym that was outside of downtown Las Vegas. They called it it said hardcore gym on the sign.
Oh yeah, way back. Yes,
yeah, way back.
One.
I remember that one.
It was 18, something like that. It was a cool gym. Yeah, it was a cool gym.
Yeah, we actually got a decent workout
in
that
Vegas
day.
Was a little rough.
Oh yeah, I remember that. But yeah. So what'd you find there, Ron? Oh, you turned your mic off.
Dogs muted you.
So it's Resorts World is the hotel, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
And it's a great hotel. We stayed there in January when we went down, and we really liked it. They had a couple of great, how one of our qualifying things for a hotel in Vegas is how good the 24-hour restaurant is.
Oh yes.
Yeah. So there's a really good 24-hour restaurant there that had a great big menu. So it was that's a huge deal for me. That's other people care about the room quality and all this other nonsense. I'm just how's the restaurant that I can conveniently eat at whenever I want?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is the best part of Vegas, though. Sometimes I like to wake up in the middle of the night in Vegas and just wander down because I can.
Yeah, you get a steak anytime you wanted and a hooker.
Right.
Hey, sometimes you need both. Steak and hookers. Steak and hookers.
Steak and hookers. Isn't that supposed to be chicken and waffles?
That's the name of the restaurant, actually.
That'd be a great name for a restaurant.
You could set that up literally in Vegas. That would be.
Pretty sure.
Yeah. It might already be. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just
somebody's over there stealing our idea right now. It's gone. There it goes.
So a lot of people like the Olympia better because there are things to do. You can go to shows. There's all the entertainment, walking around, versus the Arnold is just one building. And lately it's been warm, every time last couple of years, but usually it's a blizzard, it's a blizzard and you have to stay in the building or freeze. So this is, I think, a difference. You guys I know you guys like that better, right?
Yeah. So we're actually staying Sunday night too. Mutant said, "Hey, if you guys want to stay an extra night, we'll cover the room, and you guys can have an actual night off." You know what I mean? So that was really cool. So Mutant's gonna take care of us on Sunday night. We're gonna stay an extra night. So Dusty. We were invited to a couple of things, and we decided to go with Dusty. No offense to anyone else who invited us. We were invited to 3 things, actually. We were invited to go to a rock concert with some friends. But, that's a pretty loud night, and I was just thinking, I don't know if I'll be, in the concert mood on the Sunday.
Expo rock concert.
Expo rock concert. Because I love concerts. So I was oh, fuck, that'd be cool. Let's go to a concert.
Yeah.
But then Dusty, I found out, I thought Dusty was actually going to the game on another night. And then I found out it was Sunday night. And I was like, maybe we'll go to the hockey game.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Because, Emily and I have never gone to a hockey game together.
No kidding.
She's been to Oiler games back.
I thought that's how most Canadians met. Was at a hockey game.
We both been to games. But so we're going to go. Yeah, we're going to go to the Golden Knights game. That's a little tamer, home at a little more decent hour. We got to fly out at 6 a.m., all that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Plus, there was good fortune with this situation because Ron did not, somehow, I don't know how, but he was like, so you're going to the game on Sunday? And I was like, yeah, you didn't say anything about it. He goes, well, you didn't mention it. I'm like, well, you should come. He's like, I want to come. So I literally jumped on real quick on Ticketmaster, and he was able to get essentially in our same row.
Yeah, I'm only a few seats down in the same row.
So
I just looked for that. I just looked. I'm sure those people will trade with us easily, but
unless they want us to talk over them the whole time, which I will. Yeah. Doesn't bother me.
Yeah. So we got a couple tickets in the same row, and nice. and also too, the other 2 things we were invited to was on Thursday night after we arrive. And that's a little too hectic. You know what I mean? I just want to chill Thursday night.
Yeah.
So this is good. It's Sunday night after you're done everything. Go to a hockey game. It'd be fun.
So I'm going. I'm excited about that. We're going to do the podcast, guys. Did you guys, were you even aware that's what we're doing?
I'm aware.
I heard we might be doing that.
Yes. Yeah. So I'm excited. So first of all, thank you to Mutant for bringing me. I'm freaking pumped.
Fantastic.
But yeah, we're going to do the podcast. So I wanted to throw that out there that like, hey, any of our listeners stop by because I'm sure we'll be, recording something at various points.
Now we have to do this episode today. We get the word out.
Yes. Yeah.
Right.
Get the people there to, come and see the show. That'll be fun.
Now I'm extra excited. So I've seen the design for the booth.
Yeah.
It's a big change this year. We're doing something different with the booth.
Different than like the Arnold, is it?
Yes.
Oh.
Just a different style of booth. Like,
okay.
You know how we're sort of all like on the outside of the booth. We're more of like a bring people into the booth type of a thing this year.
Okay.
So we'll see how that works. It might be better for podcasting because it might provide us a little bit more sound barrier.
Okay.
You know how we were kind of like out in the wide open doing our show before, and if it got noisy all of a sudden, we're like,
Yeah. So a couple of years was rough. A couple of years ago. This last year I thought was excellent. You know what I mean? Because we were on the back side and we kind of had the... Yeah, they're like, put Scott back there where we don't really see it.
Yeah. So I'm hopefully it works out good. It's gonna be something a little bit newer. We'll try it out. But the booth looks cool. I mean, they got like the new graphics and all that, so I'm excited. We'll see how it goes.
So as far as show stuff goes, as far as Olympia stuff goes, I know they do the Meet the Olympians on Thursday night, right? So that's happening. And for anybody who is, maybe this is the first time they're going to the Olympia, what is that exactly?
So I recommend that you go to, I've been to that a whole bunch of times and I don't go anymore usually because I just want to chill out. But if it's like your first Olympia or even your fifth Olympia, Jedi's a little excited about the Meet the Olympians by the sounds of it. He's like, I want my picture with Derek. Okay, I got
shocking.
So I recommend that you go for sure, and I recommend that you go early. If you go late to the Meet the Olympians, some of the guys do want to get out of there.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? So like, if you go a little late, some of them have packed up a little early. Like, you know what I mean?
They're getting ready to compete, They're
getting ready to compete, you know what I mean? So go early, get them when they have a bit of energy. Try to beat the lineups. Like, even if you go, like, if you're really serious about meeting someone high up, like if you want your picture with Nick Walker, you should maybe even go like an hour early. And like linger around as they set up Nick's booth. I would recommend if you're that type of a fan and it's maybe your one chance to meet some of these guys. Because like, in my personal experience, I'll stroll into the Meet the Olympias like 2 hours after it started. And, Ronnie's line is like an hour wait.
Yeah.
And there's people that are in that line where they're going to get to meet Ronnie and that's all they're going to get to do.
Yeah.
Right. Or Bumstead's line. Forget about it.
Oh, yeah. Don't even try.
Go there now for Bumstead's line.
Go there now. Set up a tent. Yeah. So if you really want to do that Meet the Olympians experience with certain people, make it your absolute priority. Like, go have dinner after. Like, don't go for dinner and then go to Meet the Olympians. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, So that's what I would say. But if you just want to cruise around and have a look, you can go in whenever you want. You'll get to talk to somebody.
Yeah.
I mean, you'll catch somebody when their line has a break, and like you'll get lucky and meet some guys. But that's my
there'll be people that aren't competing too. You'll find a guy that maybe one of your favorite bodybuilders that's just walking around, meeting, hanging with everybody. Yeah, exactly. You'll see those guys, and you don't need to pay to go to the press conference. If you've never been to the Olympia and you want to do it upright, then you could also go to the press conference.
Yeah. That's I've been to that several times. That's fun. You know what I mean? Like if you just want to take part, like first couple times you go, everything's cool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to sound like this jaded, spoiled old guy that doesn't go to shit. But like, I remember going to the press conference back in the Mandalay Bay days.
Huh. No kidding.
Like Ronnie showing up in a suit and like,
like
those days, like I went to some of those press conferences, and now they all come out in the track suits and it's like they changed the format. But I remember everybody coming in a suit. I remember everybody like just big production. You know, it was cool times.
Did you ever see Nasser in a suit?
Yep.
Yeah, that's a sight right there. You know,
Nasser
on stage is one thing, but Nasser in a suit is it's a look in itself. You know.
Yeah. It looks like a giant fridge.
And people hang out there too. So, you know, you'll after the press conference is over, like everybody's lingering and there's people that are coming out and talking, and, you know, there'll be, you know, pro here, pro there, and people are kind of circling around them, trying to get to meet them, take pictures and stuff. So it's more it's laid back too, you know, so there's some cool opportunities to meet guys there.
And it's funny, you see a variety of moods, you know, like,
what do you mean?
Well, like you might see, I mean, I'm not like specifically naming anybody. I'm just going to make up examples.
Okay.
But like, you might go to the press conference and you might see someone like maybe you see 𝗜𝘁'𝘀𝘆𝗆, and he's standing there just talking to people like he's on a vacation.
Yeah.
And you're like, isn't that guy defending his title? But like, that's just maybe the mindset. He's just fine. He's fine. He's got 45 minutes before he has to eat. His room's just upstairs. He's like, you know, some guys are, and then other guys are like, they're like, I get the fuck out of here. I got like, you know, like they're not sticking around for nothing. They got that look in their face like they're running for the elevator. Like, they just get the hell out of here. Like, had enough. You know what I mean? So like, you'll find it funny. You never know. Everyone's going to be going through a different experience. All those guys have good days and bad days. Some of them have lots of good days and very few bad days. Some of them have lots of bad days and very few good days. And you'll see it. You'll see the look in their eyes, and you'll see some of them are cool and calm and smiling and chatting, and they're playing they're doing the, hey, this is for the fans game. My show, I don't even work. You know what I mean? Yeah. And other guys are like, I'm all business. This stuff isn't irrelevant to me right now, which is fine. Like, that's fine. Do what you got to do.
I always liked it as a fan though when they were fun, because like when Jose used to do those, I would laugh. 'Cause I'd walk in and I'd see Jose like standing on a chair hitting shots with his shirt off.
Yeah,
like he would put on a show for the fans. He's joking around, having a good time, because I think when you've been doing it a long time, you really do understand that. I don't know. It gets easier. You know, it's at the end. At this point, you're eating. He looks great. There was always a line of people, and if I could give any advice to some of these guys who aren't at the very, very top, if you want fans that last forever, how you are in person is magical.
Yeah, it makes a big difference. Like, you know, the guys who aren't in the mood or not able to do it, hey, do what you got to do, but just know that there's a fan cost. Like, it's an opportunity that you're passing up, you know.
What's your job? I really do think that more guys need to understand that. And you guys coming up that want to get there, it's your job. And same thing, if you're at a booth and you're not even at that level, this is your job. You need to be on. No one cares. I say it all the time, like, figure it out. You know, those weekends are insane for the athletes. They're insane for anybody that's at the booths. Where, you know, you're out until midnight or later every night, and then up early to do the booth, train, whatever. Same thing with the athletes. It's like, it doesn't matter. I mean, I remember Jay used to blow your mind too. Do you remember his booth back in the day at that Meet the Olympians? Everyone would have like a table with like 3 or 4 pictures, and then you'd come around the corner, and Jay had a literal store. There were 2 lines. There was a line if you wanted to meet Jay. There was a line if you just wanted to buy merch, and he had everything: shirts, like DVDs, like hats,
T-shirts.
Yeah, hanging up like backdrops so you could see them all with the prices next to him. It literally was like a store, and he was there. First one in, last one out.
He'd have like Dave Bourlet and 2 other people and his wife.
Yeah,
just selling stuff, just cranking it out.
That's wild.
And he'd be standing there in a sleeveless basketball jersey.
Yep, and slaying. Like, and he was great with the
arms and delts. You know,
he made more money that night than most people made that weekend.
Yeah. Well, hey, I'll never forget what Jay told me. Remember the 2013 when he did like the last year he did the comeback, and he got what he placed 5th?
Yeah, 4th, I think. Yeah,
4th or 5th or something. And afterwards I said, you know, like with, you know, because I remember I did his pro tan for I was putting his tan on at a guest posing after that show. And I said, like, hey, like, how hard was this prep? Like, you, like, had to pull it together. And he goes, oh, I knew I wasn't going to win. I just had to talk a big game because I wanted to sell more shirts than Phil. And I did.
And I did.
And I did. His own win. His own win.
Yeah. He's funny. Like, oh, no, I knew I wasn't going to win. I'm all banged up. My one lats messed, couldn't fire. My bicep still hurts. You know what I mean? He just knew.
Yeah.
Like, but he's like, but I wanted to sell more shirts than Phil. And I did.
Oh my God. That reminded me when 𝗲𝘃𝘀 was doing a show with us a while back. You remember when Phil said he was coming back, that he had unfinished business? That was the headline. Yeah. And Lee was on and he was like, yeah, he didn't sell all his shirts from the last time he competed. That's what his unfinished business is.
People go, but he says unfinished business. Well, let's just say I was at the Olympia last year. I had 500 T-shirts. I sold 250. I got 250 left over. I've got unfinished business. I got to come sell the other 250 T-shirts.
You can imagine 𝗲𝘃𝘀's unfinished business.
Oh, we're doing all this crap in my garage. I gotta compete again to get rid of it.
Yeah,
Lee.
You can picture his tone. You know.
Yeah.
He meant it.
Yeah.
All right.
We got to do another live so we can get Lee on again. I like when he's in the comments.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. We just need to get him on the show. We need to get him as a guest. We should set that up after the Olympia. Let's see if we can reach out to him and twist his arm to get him.
It'd be nice to do an episode where I don't have to talk.
Yeah.
Say anything.
You know?
Maybe some bleeps. That's about it.
Yeah. Okay. We're going to do some questions. What else? Did we actually give people any information?
Well, we told them about right up to Thursday, and then from there, they're on their own. You know, that's about where we got.
One more thing is I just can't handle, like, I don't want a hectic trip because it's already hectic enough.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Land Thursday, try to have one calm night with the missus, check into the hotel, get to bed early, and then it's Friday, Saturday, and then Sunday we got the hockey game, and then we're out at 6 a.m. on Monday. So it's like, there's really no other space for me, in my opinion. You know, other people might say, oh, well, Sunday afternoon's open, so there's this. And, you know, some people like to ram and cram, and not my game. But this is my second trip to Vegas where I'm still not making it to the Sphere. And I want to go to the Sphere really bad and see anything that's going on there. But it's going to have to be next trip, I guess. So, but I follow I don't know, do you follow it, Scott? Do you follow it on Instagram?
No, I don't know what you're talking about right now. I'm lost.
You know the Sphere?
No, I have no idea. I was waiting for you to talk more so I could learn about it.
Oh, pull it up on your phone and show them the little thing.
Oh,
you gotta how do you not know this? Where do you live? What's going on? Eat an apple.
Yeah.
I don't
What rock are you under?
It's called Detroit.
What rock are you under? They just had a UFC at the Sphere, and it was like mental. Like, Jesus. So,
you're doing a terrible job of showing this picture.
Yeah, well, I'm just trying to think of something I could show. I could send to Scott.
Well, tell me about this Sphere. Is it?
Well, it's that giant. It's the giant sphere. Here, I'll send it to you. There, I just sent it on Instagram.
But the outside of it
looks like a bubble
all the time.
Yeah.
But inside, it's like the biggest screen in the history of man, and it wraps around you, and it gives you like this ridiculous, all-encompassing feeling.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Like you can watch sporting events in there, and it'll be like you're at the game.
So it's like IMAX, but even like the next generation, like
IMAX on
trend.
Stem cells and steroids.
Okay.
And growth.
Yeah.
And insulin.
And with a black hole injected into it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All those things.
I like.
I sent another one. I sent another one of the UFC. Are you watching the UFC one?
No, I'm looking at some meteors or something right now. That's the one you just sent me that I'm looking at.
Yeah, but that's the UFC. See the ring down in the middle?
Oh, wow. I sure as hell do. I didn't even realize that.
This is the beginning of the Mexico UFC special they did.
Huh.
And I don't know if you could put this into the show later, but
yeah,
but that's how big the screen is. Like, see how small everybody is?
Yeah.
Like, it's
that
just
is epic.
Insanity. So the big thing is last time we went, they weren't showing anything except they had U2 playing live.
Okay.
There, yeah.
And apparently it was awesome.
Wild. Yeah.
But I'm not enough of a U2 fan that I was like, U2. Well,
yeah. You like a couple songs. It'd be good to, you know. Yeah.
So I didn't go, and there's been a bunch of bands play there now. And now what they're doing is they're doing listening parties at the Sphere. So like they just did a Pink Floyd wall one.
Yep.
Where like a bunch of crazy Pink Floyd fans pack the place out and they just play the whole album and they just roll this ridiculous thing on the screen that's been done to take you on a journey through the album. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So everyone's dropping their acid and doing their Pink Floyd thing.
Yeah.
And
it.
Smoking their reefer as those hippies do. and so I'm waiting for like Tool to do a concert there or something.
Yeah.
Where they just use that screen to their maximum advantage and you just leave with like you feel like you traveled through the universe, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So Saturday, Friday, Saturday are the shows, right? And the expo's happening Friday, Saturday, and then Sunday there's a meet and greet at a GNC. Does that sound familiar?
Yeah, we got a GNC event we have to do. You don't even know about that, Ron.
We're doing the podcast.
You didn't mention
about it.
We're doing the podcast there, so that's happening too. I will be there with you guys.
I remember Jim telling me about that.
Yeah. So that's another place for our listeners to come up and, hey, we might even be able to like get them on the mic more in a situation like that too. You know, so
Any event where there's a couch created for me to sit on, I am a fan of. Absolutely love it. So I'm tired of the Olympia. I'm like, we'll podcast right now. Let's go.
So how many things are we going to record?
Oh, God, as many as we can.
As many as we can, okay.
As many as we can. You know, if whatever you guys are able to do. And then Skip is going to be there too. So I'm going to see if I can get him to sit in for a little while, do some stuff. I'll just try to record as much as I can through the whole weekend, whether you guys want to or not. How about that?
Yeah, I like this plan.
That's fine. Okay. Good to go.
All right.
I hope everybody's excited.
Yeah, it's going to be cool. You know? I'm freaking pumped. I'm coming a day early because of the way tickets worked out. It was a little bit cheaper to come in an extra day ahead of time. Victoria's coming with me, so that's going to be fun.
Nice.
And so we're going to be there. And Drea
said, coming Wednesday then is what you mean?
Yeah, I'm coming Wednesday. I'll be there Wednesday morning. And Drea had said Mutant is looking for some more behind the scenes content with her. So she asked me if I would shoot some video with her. So I'm going to see where I can weasel my way into the Olympia with her. You know what I mean? Be like, I'm with her. You know?
You may know her. I'm with her.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
No, it'll be good.
Really
it's going to be fun.
I'm excited.
Me too.
All right. It's time for some questions.
Yes.
And I'm leading this off with something simple because I love this one, and we already had the conversation in my house, and Nikki left right after I answered. Your wife has been kidnapped and is being held in a location 30 minutes away. You're driving to rescue her. It's a warm night, and your windows are down. Do you listen to music on the drive there or no?
I love this one.
Nova.
Well, of course you do, because I always listen to music driving. So it would be weird if I didn't listen to music. But do you put on, like, what's the rescue? Do you have to kill everybody involved?
Yeah.
Or are you just going to, like, pick her up on, like, a trade? Like, what's going on?
What's the setup?
It's the setup for the rest. If you got to kill everybody involved, then you listen to, like, what you mentioned,
Seek and Destroy. Yeah, Seek and Destroy would be a good one, you know.
Yeah, something like that. Maybe some old Metallica, or you could even get more aggressive. Yeah. But you
hand on the wheel like this, and you're just staring forward. One hand just flying.
Yeah.
Would it be the Miami Vice feel when you're doing that though?
You could do In the Air Tonight. Yeah. In the Air Tonight. I'm thinking episode 1 of season 1. Crockett and Tubbs driving in the car, going to
they had the roof off though. That's a whole nother level for this issue.
The convertible. And they're just cruising, not saying a word. Tubbs is loading his shotgun.
Oh yeah. Get the leather holsters, the shoulder holster. You need that.
Yeah, classic moments.
I think there's a lot that would go into that whole thing though. I mean, because it says 30 minutes away, but I don't even know if I would leave right away. I'm going to take my I'm going to take my mind FK.
First, like how long is the rest going to take?
Make sure I got to pee real good.
Yeah,
like
you don't want to go
get there and
hypo.
have to like ask for the bathroom. 1 second, fellas. I got to pee.
Wait,
like,
or go
you don't
hypo.
overhydrate. You can under and overhydrate. They're both concerns.
Yeah.
Definitely an issue. Yeah, these are the things that would cross my mind right away. I was like, well, are they like waiting for me right now, or
you don't have enough time though to like make a mixtape? So you can't think the music out that much,
Yeah,
I got to put Nova in the kennel. There's a lot going on.
And you should double check that you don't have a tail light out or something in case you have to dispose of a body. Yeah. You don't want to have any you don't want to think, oh, geez, I have a tail light out. Oh, crap. Yeah.
So yeah, these are the things.
Stuff to consider.
I'm probably picking someone up on the way as well. I have a lot of friends that would probably just come because it sounds like a good time.
Yeah.
I live in the South. I could be like, we're heading to see some people that have abducted Nikki. They're like, I'm coming.
Or you can do that.
I've been waiting for such an occasion. Oh, that's a great one.
Yeah, because it's like it's not like a heavy song, but it's very intense. It's got that sort of like cowboy vibe that
good montage, good driving
great
montage
music. That's exactly it. That's exactly it.
Camera slowly panning. You need a GoPro. Yeah, you need a GoPro and you need a drone too to get like the outside of the car. You know what I'm saying?
You need one on the hood of the car or the dash of the car.
Yeah, one of those.
And then you need one kind of on you.
Yeah.
You got to cam up the vehicle before you leave together.
So you're making content for this as well as what you're.
Well, you got to make some money after all this.
Yeah,
got to
because whatever dumb shit she did to get herself into this situation, you need to make some money out of it.
Yeah, or at least get a few more followers. One of the two.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I think.
Good idea. This is.
I think there'd be build up in my music though. You want to start it out and this ramp up. Like when I'm turning down the main street to where I'm almost there. That's where Bodies gets turned on, and it's time to like.
I still like the Phil Collins though. That's like right there when everything's happening.
Oh, I know that. What movie did they use Bodies in? It was like an Iraq War movie where they actually were blasting it. It was like a documentary, and they actually they were like, yeah, we put this on. It was like real, like and
that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
I wasn't even in the Army and I knew that one. That's great.
Yeah.
All right. Well, looking to see what everyone else thinks. But yeah, Nikki was very disappointed when I was like, yeah, I would definitely listen to music. It's a long drive.
For the record, I generally don't listen to music in the car, but I will listen to a podcast. But it doesn't seem, I generally always, I plug my phone in, boom, podcast is on. Really? That said, I wouldn't be able to focus, so it would probably just be silent in the car.
I don't even leave my driveway until I've cued my music because I know how far I'm driving. I'm like, this is a 4-song drive. I'm going to program 5 just in case, and then I leave. Yeah.
See, I always do. I just make one decision. Is it today a Sirius satellite radio day, or am I listening to something off my phone? That's my main when I do a drive.
Yeah,
that's my main decision. But there's never no music unless I'm driving home from leg day. That's the only silent drive.
Yeah,
that's agreed upon in my house.
Yeah,
we don't ever do that.
Dial it back.
Sometimes it's silent drive and shh, no talking.
Don't. Yes, I agree.
No. Yeah.
I didn't know anyone still had satellite radio. So that's fantastic.
Yeah, I still got Sirius. I got Sirius in my truck. Yeah.
I use Spotify.
I love Ozzy's Boneyard. Yeah. No, I use Apple Music a lot. I don't use Spotify much myself because my Spotify account's linked to the gym.
Oh, yeah.
They're out using it. But it's okay because I use Apple Music for everything, and I like Apple Music. It's great.
I'm using YouTube Music now that I have premium for the show. And then I created a mix for myself. I saved songs, but then I realized it was a public playlist on our channel, and I was like, whoa, we got to change that real quick.
Okay. quick note to everybody watching. I signed up for YouTube Premium myself.
Yeah?
Yep.
And I'm kicking myself that I didn't do it years ago.
Oh, I know, man. Oh, I know. It's so good.
I can't believe I sat through so many commercials.
Oh, I know. It's so good.
you know, when you go to watch a video and you get to 5 second, and then everyone now they're doing a 10 second that you can't click off of.
Right.
And sometimes there's a 10 and then another 5 before you can hit the skip button.
I'm going to program a ad in right here.
Yeah. And if you're like cooking your eggs on the stove, you got to walk over to the computer to hit skip.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Just the whole ad plays. Oh man, my life has completely changed now.
Or I listen while I'm going to sleep. I'll listen to like a relaxing conversation or some sort of story. And if you're doing that, you can't, like, as you're falling asleep, all of a sudden an ad pops up. It throws you off, you know. So yeah,
$12 a month. It's like $12.99 a month or something.
Something like that, yeah.
Something like that. And I'm like, I'll find $12.99 in a couch cushion or something. This is so worth it. Like, I'll just, like, whatever I got to do. Like, unbelievable. It's fantastic. Probably, if I had to cancel all my streaming except for 2, like, if you know how many subscriptions you wind up having? Like, I probably have too many. I probably have too many. I could probably dump like 4 TV streaming services that I don't use enough of, but I would keep the YouTube Premium
and Pornhub. Oh wait, no. The gym will have to go quiet. You guys will have to listen to the radio.
It's fine.
Seriously,
use your own headphones. Relax.
Okay.
Oh, that's classic. That's a good point, man. Now I got to figure it out. The amount of subscriptions we have is unreal, and then they keep going up. Hulu just went up again. I was like, that was like 3 months ago. You went up 7% last time.
Yeah,
so I don't have Hulu. I don't need it. You know, and
every
time I go to cancel my Disney Plus, because I won't use it, I'll be like, I don't need Disney Plus, and I'm like, oh fuck, there's that one show we want to watch, and then we'll watch it, and we're like, oh, it's really good, and there's another season coming, so I have to keep my Disney Plus now.
Before we get into the next question, I have to jump in and show you guys something. This literally happened right before the podcast. I looked at my Ring, which is another subscription. I'm on the treadmill, and I see the mail shows up. The Nags, I don't know if you guys know Nags, sent me a birthday present, and it just showed up. It's not only a pair of Crocs, okay? But you got to see these Crocs. Can you see what's on these Crocs?
I can. We can't say that loud. The one on the right is phenomenal.
Machine guns.
But look at the right one.
Medicine.
These are
performance medicine.
These files are legit, dude. Like, this is
that's amazing. I can't believe I'm saying anything about a Croc is amazing, but that is amazing.
What are those? Those are real. Those are real. Are those just peptide vials? What did he put on those?
Growth and test.
So now, what's the green? The green thing is just the hook it was hanging.
Yeah, it's just the hook.
Yeah,
it's just the hook.
Yeah, I haven't. Sorry, you never know. I thought maybe it was part of the design.
Yeah,
you know.
Am I allowed to wear these to the Olympia? I don't know.
Oh, jeez. As long as those vials are empty.
Maybe they will be by then.
Yeah.
Gotta figure out this dosing real quick.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
I just showed you.
So keep your Croc in the fridge then with the growth once it's mixed.
So now you got to tell me, can you identify all of those defense mechanisms that are on there?
Let's see. Mechanism? Yeah, we got Glock. We have an AR. I don't know what this other one is. It's just a gun, and then I don't. Yeah, I think that some of them aren't real. Then an AK
one looks like an AK.
Yeah, an AK and another AR. So yeah,
reasonable
AR-15 style rifle, as they say on the news.
AR-15 style rifle. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Thank you, Nick. I had to share that though. I literally had tears. I was laughing so hard. So yeah,
that's phenomenal. See, that's one. I'm not a great gift giver. I don't know. I'm not like that's.
I would have never thought of that. I would have never thought of that.
That's a lot of, I would just go, what does Dusty like? He likes steak. Here's a steakhouse coupon.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I did last year, actually. Remember? I just said randomly, I Venmo'd Ron money. I'm like, go eat as if you couldn't have went to eat without this.
Like, happy birthday. I just get a PayPal email. Happy birthday.
I felt the need to do something. I don't know. Nice. This is weird.
I never forget that you go back to early Eddie Murphy. I don't know if it's Delirious or Raw. I think it's Delirious with the red leather suit on. Like early Eddie Murphy. and he's talking about how all he wants is just money. Just give me money. That's all I ever wanted, And he's talking about just give me money, like, and that joke about just getting money for Christmas or for presents. I'm just like, yeah, that's perfect. Just give me cash.
I agree a million.
Some people are like, it's so impersonal. I'm like, it's exactly what I want.
It always fits. Always. You never take it back.
No, I know.
How about this one, guys?
By the way, I have a birthday coming up in less than a month, but that's
for anybody who wants out. He's also size Atlantis hack squat for anybody.
Yeah.
What size Croc do you wear? I'll let Nags know.
Oh yeah, last thing I need.
Your present got stuck at customs, Ron. Sorry.
Yeah, I got a letter,
and you're going to jail.
Yeah, exactly.
How about this one?
Amazing.
Do you
what
think
did you get for your birthday? Jail.
Do you guys think that anyone will ever win the classic Mr. O and then transition to open and win that as well? Similar to the way Derek won the 212 and is now the open Mr. O.
No.
Agreed.
I just think that 212 and open are exactly the same criteria and exactly the same thing they're looking for.
Yeah.
Right? Whereas classic and open are not. So the person who's genetically predisposed to be the best in classic would have to make too many changes, radical changes, to, like, think of how much weight they'd have to gain to really be open. Bumstead's coming in at 235 at 6'1".
Yeah, so he's got to be 300 pounds.
I mean, you could look unbelievable. You could transition to open and go out there and look fucking crazy at 260 or something and just have everybody go, what an amazing physique. This is unbelievable. But then, Lunsford's beside him at, 240 at 5'6" or whatever, So it's just too different, I think. I don't know. You guys think I'm wrong?
No, I agree. And I think the other factor is I think if you're built for classic, then that's what you want to look like.
Yeah.
I mean, there are things that I don't know that people who haven't gotten really big don't realize about being this big. Chris Bumstead can buy clothes off of a rack still. No one looks at him weird when he walks through a restaurant or anything else. He just looks awesome all the time.
Other than his face.
Yeah, it's like, that's just because he's him.
Supermodel, recognizable.
Yeah, but it's like those factors. I really don't think enough people realize. I mean, I didn't really think about it until I retired and shrunk down. I was like, oh, I was more uncomfortable than I realized. So he's not sacrificing that. And he was a bodybuilder before. He could have chosen bodybuilding if he wanted to. He turned pro as a bodybuilder.
Yeah,
but he went this route, and I think it worked out okay.
Yeah. Let's just say every single decision he's made has been smart.
Yeah, every one of them. Yeah,
especially following me on Instagram. I want to give Scott's a shot, and he won't read his own question because he stole it. But here's Scott McNally's theft from Shane Gillis. If
fun.
A stadium held 70,000 people and 65,000 of them get $5 million, but the other 5,000 get sucked into a black hole, would you still go?
My answer is no, because the percentage is too high.
How about 10 million then, Ron?
No, it's the percentage of dying is too high. Because if you do the math on that, if you do the math on that, that's a 13% chance of death, and I don't think anything
is a black hole death though. That's the other thing.
It's just transcending into a different dimension. Yeah,
you never know what might happen. You might be happy you got the black hole.
Yeah. You get to the other side, you get $10 million, and you find out it's a cooler place.
I don't do anything with a 13% chance of dying.
No, so. I think the tricky part that I thought about immediately was, I mean, the less serious side is just that even if that risk was lower, let's bring that risk down to 2%.
Yeah.
It's still only $5 million, which I know that's a lot, but it's really not.
Right.
Like, that's not a ton of money. I think the older you get and you start to understand what money is, you're like, that's good. But like, it's not completely game-changing cash.
Okay, let's play it out.
A 1% chance I wouldn't do it. I'd be like,
let's play it out for a little further then, Dusty. Let's say it's game-changing cash. Like, whatever your number is, right? It's game-changing cash. What percent would you take to actually show up?
All right, so here's how I would work it out. If I was the age I am now, it doesn't work. If I was 65, then there'd be a number. And the reason isn't me. It's because I would have passed on enough to my kids that they've learned enough. And now if I miss, hopefully they can, there's got to be a way that it'd be worth giving them that money. If I got in and got the cash, it'd be for them, not for me. You see what I'm saying? There's a bone stolen in the background, if anyone's wondering.
Oh, that's a problem.
I'll be right back. There's a real
That's problem. A problem.
Nova leaves her bone because she's done, and then the other two grab it immediately. Be back.
Yes. You go deal with bones.
What about Ron, if it was 500 people? 5 million and only 500 people got the black hole.
So that's 1.3%.
It's pretty low. You're probably walking out of there. You know what I'm saying? You have pretty good luck.
I would be very tempted to do that. So my take is on, we have a lot of scientific data on how much money actually makes people happy. And so that's something to consider, because a lot of people, especially if maybe you're like going through something tough right now, you think that money is happiness, right?
Yeah.
But we have a lot of data that shows that once you hit a certain amount of money, happiness actually doesn't increase. Obviously with some people it might, but across the board, a large percentage of people don't get happier as they get richer beyond being comfortable.
You see those people who like win the lottery and then like 3 years later or whatever, it's gone and they're still miserable,
So, I don't know. I mean, risking death is a big deal. And as I approach my next birthday, I think about that sometimes. Like, when you're younger, risking death is like, you're like, I'm not going to die.
Nah, can't happen.
And then as you get older, you're like, people die doing this.
Yeah.
Lots of people die doing this,
I saw a really good thing. I saw a really good thing on Brad Leia's page one day. He was talking to these two kids that were trying to, they were starting out in life. Mm-hmm. And he's like, I bet if I wrote both of you a check for $1 million, that would be pretty awesome, wouldn't it? And they're like, yeah. And he's like, be better if I made it for 10 million though, wouldn't it? And they're like, yeah. And he goes, so you'd like that? And he's like, yeah. And he goes, but would you take $10 million if you weren't going to wake up tomorrow? And they were both like, well, no. And he goes, exactly. So waking up tomorrow is more valuable than $10 million. Maybe you should live like that.
That's great.
Because if you don't have an extended amount, and that's why the financial side, like my original thought, which that was like a funny question, but my first thought was like, I could bring more value to my family than $5 million. Like even if I got it for dying.
Yeah, like, you get the 5 million either way.
Like, it doesn't help someone else. You're much better off to teach how to find happiness, like you said. Or if money was important, like finding a way to make $5 million is not really that difficult, especially when you're 16 years old. I am programming what I know into a 16 and 18-year-old. They'll both have more money than me by the time they're 30. Like, it won't even be close. So, I agree with you, Ron, too. It's like when I think about the slower times in life when I was broke and the things we did for fun, and I still think about them. I'm like, we were having a great time for $6.
Yeah.
Like my first marriage, I was so broke that we used to every Friday night share a large chili cheese fry from Del Taco and go up in the canyon in Utah and talk about what we were going to do to not live like this eventually. And just hang out for like an hour. And it was great.
Yeah.
And it's like, that was $6 or $3 or whatever it was back then. And I still remember that now. So it's like, and now when you go out, I mean, you guys know this, when you go to a really nice restaurant, spend $300-400 on dinner, it's great. I'm not going to talk about that in a year or a week.
No.
It's just dinner. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I mean, my perspective on lots of things has changed, man. And, like I had Dusty asked me a story on my question on my story the other day. Did you see I responded to those?
oh yeah,
Dusty? And it was the one was, what's a like really valuable moment from bodybuilding that you remember? Mm-hmm. And I told a story about the prep I did for the Albertas in '99. And that's like one of the most valuable periods of my life. I was really happy because I was working so hard and pursuing something and so focused, and I had so much structure. And I remember being happy the whole time. And I was broke. Like I finished that prep on my Visa card. I remember buying chicken at Costco on my Visa, and I was like, I'll figure this out after. Like,
yeah,
just like what? Oh, well, I'll be getting a bill for this. I'll just start chipping away. I have to get 2 jobs or whatever. And but it was just the amount of money I had absolutely nothing to do with how much I enjoyed that whole process. And it was because I was working hard at something I wanted to do, and everything I did was meaningful, and my whole day was structured, and it was all like, no time wasted, and I was being super efficient. And yeah, so this valuable times, some of my favorite times in life, I was broke. Like when I was in Australia, like that whole period of time was like just awesome. And I mean, like, I was just a backpacker essentially. You know what I mean? So I know a lot of people attach money to happiness because it does. Obviously, security is really important, and especially nowadays we want to be secure and all that. But there's a certain amount of money where once you get to, your happiness doesn't continue to rise. Once you're kind of secure, and everything, all your bills are paid and everything. Like I can't remember what the number is on the studies. I don't know if you guys have seen that study, but it's pretty interesting. It's not that high.
Well, I also know that the more money you make, the larger the increment has to be of the next level before your life changes. So like they say, if you have $10 million, there's nothing you can do. I'm creating this number. It might not be accurate, but there's nothing you can do with 30 million you can't do with 10. Like you have to literally start jumping into the 50s or hundreds before your life changes again. Whereas, when I first made a job making 36 grand a year, I was like, holy shit, I'm rich.
Right.
Like I had because it was like I bought my groceries and I paid my rent, and then there was all this money sitting here, and I'm like, holy crap. Like, and that was life changing. But even in those small increments, 70 was nice, but I don't think like 85 did anything. It created more like leftover money, but like my life didn't change. I couldn't do anything bigger, so I do think that those things are fun to look at, because we talk about that all the time with the way the times are. I'm like, things are really good. We're in a really good season of life. But if I were to lose all of the extra today and we were in a 1-bedroom apartment with a crappy car, our life would still be awesome. I'd be like, all right, cool. Because the things that we enjoy doing, we could still do. We would still hang out and watch hockey games at home and with the dogs and go for walks, and we'd have enough money to go to the gym and eat food. Like, that is the stuff that we look at and have the most fun with. The other is just extras that we're fortunate to have.
We went to Walmart yesterday and ate at the food court in the mall. And we were like, wow, that was such an awesome day. We had like a whole day together. Like, you know what I mean? It was just like funny.
Yeah. I don't think those are things that you can know beforehand when you're in the hustle. And then when you are, like you said, it's just you look, and the most simple day is a great day. So, there's not amounts that I'll do the stadium.
What about this one? Would you support AI judging of bodybuilding in the future? If you program it where the AI has the parameters on what to look for, you just set a camera up to take a video feed of the competitors and it judges based on that criteria. It would be completely non-biased.
It'd be better than the current standard.
Yeah, interesting. Well, hey, it's like they say, Elon said that essentially, I don't know how long it's going to take, but essentially driverless cars should be like thousands of times safer than people driving cars.
Yeah.
Like removing people from driving cars is going to make them thousands of times safer. He talked about how the software and the how everything's going to work and how everything's just so much, everything working together and all the cars seeing what all the other cars are seeing, and it's just game over. Like there's no more car accidents at some point.
Yeah.
There's a point where that technology is going to get where it's like literally foolproof safety. And that, you know, those cameras see 1,000 times better than a human and react 1,000 times, 10,000 times faster than a human.
Right.
And once they're all linked and talking to each other, once every car is driverless and they're all GPSed to each other, nothing will ever collide because it can't.
Yeah.
It'll prevent it. Like he's just said, it's like the future is 100,000 times safer than having people in control of these torpedoes made of metal flying down the street. Right. So, you know, it makes you think, like if you program something correctly, obviously, you know, you could have a Bond villain program something to only select Mr. Olympias that are of a certain political stripe or something like that. But, you know, as long as it's done properly.
If somebody hacks it, you know.
Yeah.
I think the only downside to that,
to Mr. Olympia, let's do it.
The only downside is I can't show my two best photos against a guy who's not in his pose yet and ask all my friends who should have won after I lose.
Right.
It's just, you don't have to wonder after that.
I do think that the one thing I would really truthfully would like about that though is the dogs don't care.
I think something that's awesome about that is the AI could literally graph the physique and be like, oh, this arm is actually 1/4 inch smaller than this arm. And this other guy, his arms are exactly the same size. So he technically has better symmetry in the arms, even though visually you can't see that.
Right.
And it would all be mathematically taken into consideration. So when we start talking about symmetry, the AI would be like, no, you're wrong. This guy's actually more symmetrical.
Well, you also can factor in, though, and we do know this is true at the higher level, that there's something to be said about being judged against yourself and then against the rest of the class.
Yes.
Which does happen. Like they'll say you weren't at your best. And it's like, it doesn't matter. Was I better than everyone else? Because that's my job.
Yeah.
You know, and that does get involved currently, no matter what anybody says. So that would be eliminated. You know, then my clients wouldn't ask about talking to the judges either because that irritates me. I have to tell you guys this real quick. I had a client who took second in the open this weekend and should have. His legs were a little small. We got to bring him up. But he was sliced out of his head. Classic physique, great. But he definitely has bigger legs. And the judge actually said, I think you're a little too conditioned.
What?
And I'm like, I think you should never judge again. The only thing that was a problem I already knew, which is his legs need to be bigger. I'm like, no, that's not the problem.
So, here's my main criticism of judging. And if any judges listening to this know that I appreciate your judging. It's not your judging I'm criticizing. It's how things are worded to the athletes after that I think is sometimes a problem.
Yeah.
I've been through this before. Your judging might be spot on. You put that guy second, he deserves second. This guy's first, he deserves first. I totally agree with you.
Explaining it.
But the way it's explained, I don't know if some judges realize the weight of the words that they use. Like what really gets me the most is when they tell guys, oh, you just need to be fuller through the chest and you need more fullness through the delts. And what that person hears is, oh, my coach didn't carb me up enough.
Yeah.
But what
Your
the
chest
reality
needs to be
might
bigger.
be is you need to be bigger.
Yeah.
Your shoulders and chest aren't getting bigger with 2 more muffins.
No.
You just need to be bigger. You need another 2 years of chest and delt work, and your legs are genetically dominant, and your upper body looks a little small. And the way the judge worded that was, well, compared to this guy, you don't have as much fullness through your chest and delts.
Yeah.
But that's not what the reality of what you have to do is.
Right.
And that's just an example. And too conditioned, maybe that's a translation for you were so shredded that maybe that's why your legs were flat-ish.
Right.
But in reality, your legs weren't flat. They were
maybe bigger.
Perfect. They just need to be big. You need to be another 2 years bigger in the legs. But this judge thought, oh, maybe you can't. You were so shredded that maybe you gave up some size in your legs. But they don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, anyways.
The good thing about that was my client sent me that and told me thank you because he just wanted to be the most shredded guy. So it came with a win. But no, I thought that was important. And because you brought that up, Ron, I also think it's important. So I have a friend that just competed at a high level. And there's a lot of changes that need to be made to really be ready to turn pro. And after the show, they went down and asked the judges, and they were like, you're pretty much there. Just come back a little harder. And I'm like, that's not true. You're not helping them. You're selling another, year of coming out to the show. But it's like, no. Dude, like, don't, as a judge, especially at the highest level, if I come to you and say, what needs to happen? I need you to tell me, like, hey, Dusty, your waist is really blocky. And because of that, you have to be enormous. Your legs have to come up. I know they're big. They're not big enough. They don't beat that disparity of your midsection. Leave my feelings out of it and give me a shot to do. Because if not, that's why I tell my clients not to go. Because then they come back and they go, oh, we're right there. And I'm like, no, you're not.
Right.
You're not right there. And I'm your friend and I want you to be right there, but you're not.
Yeah.
It's mind-boggling to me that happens. And I always wonder, is there a little bit of a connection between making sure we're getting a lot of entries at $300 a person and these answers?
Right.
Who knows?
Okay.
I could do a little parlay into that because I had somebody ask me this, and I may have told you guys this. I don't think I've done it on the air, but a guy asked for another JJ story.
Oh yeah.
JJ Marsh. And what I just said is a prime example, and I hope I haven't said this on the show, but it's we're training in the gym one day, and this guy walks over and he says, "Hey Jay, when you guys are done, will you take a look at me?" And Jay's like, "Sure." So we finish the workout and we go in the locker room. And the guy's 2 weeks out from the USAs. The guy hits all of his shots, and Jay's just looking at him. He doesn't say anything. The guy goes, "So what do you think?" And he goes, "Do you really want to know?" And he said, "Yeah." He goes, "I think you should quit the sport. You're wasting your time." Just said it. And the guy looked at him and he was pissed.
Yeah.
And he leaves, goes, does the USAs, doesn't make the top 15, comes back, apologizes, and says thank you.
No kidding.
Now, obviously, I'm not suggesting that couldn't have been worded better because I'm not a fan of being a complete asshole.
Yeah.
But I do think that's what I mean when I talk about the judges. It's like he was honest. And he told me the same thing when I started working with him before I'd ever met him. Called him. I needed directions to his house. This is back in the 1900s when we couldn't just put it on our phone. And he told me before I got there, he goes, "If you're not going to be good, I won't work with you."
Right.
Never met him before. It's just how he functioned was wildly honest,
Yeah.
He had another case that was so funny. He was training. Do you guys remember Troy Alves?
Of course. Yeah.
So he's training Troy, and they're in the gym. They're doing, I'm going to say legs, whatever it was. And Jay's putting him through a set, and he's like, "Go down again." And Troy racks it. And he stands up and he goes, "I can't." And I'll never forget because I'm sitting there and my phone rings. And Jay's like, "I got to tell you something." And I'm like, "What?" And he goes, so he explains the scenario. He goes, he gets up and he says, "I can't. I can't. Dusty, what the does that mean? What do you mean you can't? Are you going to die?" And it was his mentality and why he was so good. He couldn't even fathom what those words meant. You can't do this,
That's some old school, that's some old school hardcore thinking there. I like that.
I loved working with him. Training with him is much like your story earlier, Ron. Everything got easy after that. Because I actually thought multiple times he was trying to break me mentally more than make me a better bodybuilder. I was like, oh, okay. Well, I'm willing to die trying to do this, so let's do it. Then you actually found out he was actually just making me better, but who knew? Who knew that 8 ounces of tilapia 6 times a day was a diet?
You're my
You're muted, Ron.
Yeah.
So, anywho, that's my transition from the judges to that kind of honesty. I like brutal.
Hey, it's something I wanted to make sure we got in here. So, Mutant CEO Jim McMahon messages me this morning, and I'm certain he was listening to the podcast at the time. You know how like sometimes people we know will be listening to the show, and then you just get a message from him out of the blue about something we talked about. You know, one of those things.
What did Ron do this time?
Well, here's what he said. He said he's got a Mutant CEO challenge. He says a couple things. Number one was put out a poll. He wanted to know what our listeners think and viewers think. What WWE superstar would they like to meet at the booth if you could bring one there? He wanted to ask that, so I wanted to get our listeners in, see what they have to say. But he also said, get this. He says, Golden Eagle, first of all. He's talking Tom Platz. Out of the blue, he messaged me about Tom and about Tom eating Pop-Tarts. So Tom suggested eating Pop-Tarts before Dusty did. That was way back in the day, Dusty. It was before he did squats, right? And he mentioned that in one of the muscle magazines. And he said, a year free Mutant 𝗕cie𝗱𝗆𝗆 to the listener who can find that article. And then he wrote, seriously. So I did a quick search. So it's not something that just like comes up. You might find articles like, people talking about it, or you might find a video where somebody mentions it, but finding the actual, he wants the actual article.
Like the magazine?
Yes.
Yeah, he wants the magazine.
I had never eaten a Pop-Tart in my life when I was a kid. Like I said, my mom was pretty healthy. Like she didn't let us have sugar cereals. Like in my house, we didn't have Fruit Loops. We had cornflakes and Raisin Bran and a little bit healthier cereals. Like if you're going to pick one, right?
Yeah.
Cheerios were okay. Because they didn't have a lot of sugar in them. But we grew up on like that type of cereal. So we didn't have Pop-Tarts. And I started bodybuilding in grade 9 and I started reading the muscle mags, and I get an old, they used to reprint articles back then, right?
Yeah.
They'd rerun an article. And I get a Tom Platz interview. And there's all these photos of him training legs. I don't remember what issue it was in. And he says, after I train legs, I ate 2 Pop-Tarts. They're actually the perfect post-workout. They've got some sugar in them. They're delicious. They digest really easy. They're not going to turn to fat after a hard squat workout. Nothing's going to turn to fat, I eat a couple of Pop-Tarts. I throw them in my gym bag. I just eat them like they're easy. You know what I mean? And so I was like, oh, well, if Tom Platz eats Pop-Tarts. So Pop-Tarts became like a part of my diet. Like I ate Pop-Tarts all through high school. I'd have a protein shake and 2 Pop-Tarts as a meal. And I did that like for ages. And then when it came to bodybuilding and, working with different coaches and they're telling you to have a high carb day and they're like, yeah, you can throw some sugars in with this meal or that, I'd be like, oh, Pop-Tarts it is. And Pop-Tarts were a thing. And then I meet Dusty and Dusty's on the Pop-Tart wagon.
Yeah.
Like, oh, yeah, this is like normal hardcore bodybuilder stuff, So it's kind of funny, but that's my Pop-Tart experience. And it's because of Tom Platz. He's absolutely responsible for me eating Pop-Tarts.
I love how that works though, Scott, is because I had a lot of people that during that time, because I was just putting out content, that kind of content before other people were.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh man, you're the one that brought the Pop-Tarts to the scene. I'm like, no. I just happened to eat Pop-Tart.
But it wasn't popular, and then you did it. What year was that about ballpark? Was it around like 12?
Like my story? You
mean?
Or his?
No. Dusty's.
Mine would have been like 2009, 2010.
Okay. Yeah, because it was like 2011, I think it was. I saw... so I did a search earlier today, and it was around 2011 on a message board. Somebody said, what's up with all these guys that are eating Pop-Tarts now? Like it's this big trend. And I was like, I bet that was because of Dusty. That's what I was thinking.
And it was so funny because it was like a whole, and it was classic because I'm like, no, it's literally just what Ron said. It was just an easy way to get things. And I did the same. It was a protein shake and Pop-Tarts, and I just happened to like the way they tasted. So it was easy. It was like, it's like I'm eating a cheat meal during a prep or an off-season phase where I want them. And then Chris started doing them. Then he got into muffins, and that's when those blew up.
Yeah,
and we used
I
to
remember
laugh
that.
because I asked Chris during a prep one time. He's like, "Oh, we got to do some Pop-Tarts." I'm like, "We should switch to toaster strudels now that I'm getting a little more classy."
Yeah.
So we started doing toaster strudels instead.
Leveled it up.
Oh, Henry, what's up, buddy? Hey, who's faster, Henry or Jed?
Man, I haven't had them foot race each other, but Henry is like an energy ball because he's younger.
Right.
Henry can jump higher, definitely. He can
these things
jump
matter.
higher. Yeah, he can jump higher. He's a little bit more of like a, off the top ropes type of wrestler. And but when they wrestle, Jed's got a good front face lock. Jed gets in like a front headlock, and because Jed's like 5 pounds heavier.
Oh, so you can use it.
You know,
That's
it's
a
like
percentage. That's enormous.
Yeah, it is.
Like 30%. He's like 30% heavier. It's like 16 to 11 and a half.
Yeah.
So Henry's got like, all this agility, but Jed can kind of front face lock him and hold him, and then he kind of even looks up at me. Just like sits there holding him, and he puts all his weight on him, and Henry's like, "Argh." Yeah, it's pretty funny. Look at that face. Look at that face. He's pretty cute. Hey, Henry, over here. Say hi.
There he goes.
He's so cute.
What a stud.
Yeah, see his little tag? Henry.
He came in and flipped your life upside down. It's amazing.
Oh, yeah. He's been cool. Jed and him are getting along now. They hang out together more, and
Good.
really good. So
They had to handle it.
Yeah.
some real funny
right,
dog
time.
psychology, though. We even got help from a trainer friend of ours. We had some funny dog psychology. Like, we used to pull the bully sticks out, and Jed would just lose his mind. He wants his bully stick.
Yeah.
And you hold it out, and he'd jump at it and grab it and run away and play with his bully stick. And now you pull 2 bully sticks out, and Jed looks at you. Why are there 2? Right? And you go to give him one, and he just sniffs it.
Aw.
I want the other one.
Yeah.
And you give one to Henry, and Henry goes and plays with it, and Jed looks at the one Henry's got, and he ignores the one you're going to give him. He's like, I don't want that one. I want that one.
I love it.
Like, I don't want the one you're giving me. I want the one you gave him. And it's like so funny. So
what do they say about that? What did the trainer say?
oh, she said, oh yeah, she just laughed. She goes, oh yeah, that's like normal.
Yeah, not a big
Jed
deal.
thinks those are his. Like, he thinks those are for him, and he doesn't understand why is Henry get one of those? Those are mine.
I've got some dog psychology going on at the house over here right now. So we were out on date day. We were shopping at a clothes store, and I saw these Halloween costumes for dogs. And I got this little pink pig costume for Maddie. She does not like wearing coats. She does not like wearing anything, So she gets this, it's called, I think, 𝗕𝘂𝘀𝘀. It's like a dental cleaner for her teeth that she eats every other night. So now when I get the 𝗕𝘂𝘀𝘀 out, first I put the pig costume on her, and I'm conditioning her so that, and she's getting used to it. She puts the pig costume on, and she knows she's getting her 𝗕𝘂𝘀𝘀. So that's the trick that I'm going to, and then I'll leave it on her after she's done. She'll sit there and watch TV for a little while, and then I take it off. At first she did not like it at all. And now she's like, I got the pig costume on. It's okay.
I can work with this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Comes with a gift.
We're excited.
Fine.
We're excited for Halloween. Jedi has his Jedi costume that we're going to use
obviously.
again every year. He's got his Obi-Wan Kenobi robe with the hood that looks so fucking hilarious on him. I just love it. We're going to have to get something for Henry, too. So Halloween this year will be a little more fun.
Dogs hate humans so bad with the shit we do to them. They're like, what are you doing? I'm a nudist. That's all I am.
His collar's bad enough.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I've already covered more than I want.
Okay. Do you want to rapid fire through some of these? We got a bunch of them.
Oh my God. Okay, I'm going to read this one real quick because I think it could be interesting.
All right.
With all these online influencers now arguing about mechanical tension versus time under tension versus training and length of position versus sarcoplasmic hypertrophy, and all of them citing studies to support their claims, why is no one asking them how studies about largely untrained populations that definitely are not doing copious amounts of anabolics could possibly apply to the general online bodybuilding population? Good question.
Good question. Reminds me of an interview. I did it. Reminds me of an interview I just saw. This isn't just bodybuilding. This is everything right now. Everyone has access to too much information.
Yeah.
So I just saw a little interview with Zach Wild. You guys know Zach Wild, amazing guitar player, right? Black Label Society, Ozzy's guitar player. He's doing the Pantera tour right now. And Zach said is that the question that annoys him the most is when people name a song. Like they'll be like, hey, when you recorded Miracle Man with Ozzy, how did you get that tone? And he's like, I don't know. I played a Les Paul through a Marshall stack and we recorded it. like he's like, I don't like you just like, so everyone in guitar world is a tone chaser. Right. Trying to get this perfect tone to recreate this tone and that tone. And that's cool. Like, I think it's a cool hobby. Some guys are so into it, right? I got a 1965 Fender reverb amp, and then I got a special reissue pedal, and I got the right type of cable, and I just get the right tone. And if you listen carefully, it sounds just like this album.
Yeah.
And the guy that made the album is like, I don't know. We just set the stuff up in the room and I played the song, and that's the tone we got. Like, we didn't think about it. Yeah, we didn't think about it. That was just that sounds great. Let's record it.
Yeah.
You know? And so chasing the tone is way more complicated than the guy that got the tone.
Right.
And Zach's like, I don't know. I have 2 pedals on my board and I have a Marshall amp and I just play. And that's how I sound because of these. And, like, you know what I mean? So... You know, and that's just in everything. It's in we're getting this sort of hyper information feed in bodybuilding, general fitness, the nutrition world, the non-fitness nutrition world. Like if you listen to people who aren't in the fitness world, but they're trying to eat better, there's all this hyper information happening to them. The guitar world, just every world. Then just saying, Scott, even the gun world.
Oh,
all these guys think all these upgrades to their guns are going to make them a better shooter, but they're not a good enough shooter for any of the upgrades to matter.
Yep. Yeah, you can't outshoot your gun.
Right, you can't outshoot your gun. And then like these guys in guitar world, like they're not good guitar players, but they're doing all this tone chasing to try to sound. And it's like, actually, you just need to practice for like 1,000 more hours and your tone will improve.
Yeah. When I was in photography, it was like that, where there's some people that they were there for like the art and the passion and they could shoot a picture on anything. And then there's the people that were like, well, what f-stop did you use? And what lens was that? You know, and they were equipment chasers. So Right. And I imagine that's only gotten stronger at this point.
Every single area, like name a hobby, name a pursuit, it's all going through this hyper information loop. This study came out, and obviously there's a lot of good information in there, but so many people just get trapped in this like flood of stuff that doesn't really matter to them.
Well, plus I think when you I see a lot of people and people who are trying to be influencers will cite studies sometimes, but no one goes and reads the study. And if you go read the study, because you actually know how, you realize that it's a completely biased study, or it's the wrong population that are trying to compare to what you're pulling into the bodybuilding realm or anything else. So you do need to be cautious when you're looking at things if you don't know. Because I can probably, if I put a little effort in right now, I could go on, put up a post with a study attached that explains why I'm right, and then in the comments put a study attached that says why I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Like, you need to dig into these things if you actually care. And the biggest thing is, like, most of it is just noise that we talk about all the time. It's like you said with the guitar, Ron, like, well, why don't you just get better at guitar and then we'll worry about this shit? Yeah. You know, you're talking to me about all these things, and I'm telling you, you're not going deep enough on your hack squat. So figure out the hack squat.
Yeah.
So good question.
I got one here. Somebody was asking, I scrolled past it. Here it is. So just let's get like a couple of tips from each of us. We can make it rapid fire. If you could take someone from normal size to freak size, what would be the essentials to do that?
Mindset.
Costco membership.
Bottle of test.
There, we're done. We're done. That's good.
Hey, give me someone with the right mindset, a Costco membership, and literally 3 drugs, and I can put 100 pounds on them.
Yeah. I think if there was anything I would add to that
drug,
it doesn't matter. It doesn't even matter. You need something. You need something.
Drugs.
But I think the biggest thing is the mindset, and then also the understanding of consistency over time. That's where people miss. Anytime somebody asks me how long it's going to take, I'm immediately bothered, because my thought is, does it matter? So if I name a number, is it going to be too long and you're not going to do it? Then you shouldn't do this in the first place. When I started bodybuilding, I didn't say how long will this will take. I said, I love this. I want to be huge. And I just started, and I just did it every day.
I don't ever remember thinking of like a deadline for my bodybuilding. Like people be like, how long are you going to do this? I'm like, I don't know. As long as I want. Yeah. Like I remember saying like, I don't think I want to compete past 40, but I was like 20 at the time.
It's like a lifetime.
I used to always just say, I will do this until it's not fun.
Yeah.
That's it. So those are the basics, though. You nailed it. I actually have a guy that's the one that just won this week, and I sent you guys the pictures of. He reached out to me because he's contemplating. He wants to move on now that he realizes he's better than he thought. And he's like, well, but what else? How much more am I going to have to do as far as supplements and things? I said, none. More time doing the same thing. We will not be adding anything. We'll not be upping anything. I just need you to give me more time.
I mean, I was 300 pounds before I ever had any money.
Yeah, which means you weren't buying a bunch of drugs.
Like, I remember, like, every cycle was budget. I was like, okay, I can afford 15 amps of Sustanon and 2 bottles of Prop. And that's it. That's all I can afford. And I got to eat. And it would just be like massive boxes of cereal and big, huge ground beef and pasta meals and test. Like, I don't think I used an anabolic. Like, there's testosterone and then there's all the other family.
Yeah.
I think my off seasons were literally just like test until I was 300 pounds.
I had the same with food,
D-ball here and there. Threw some D-ball in. I get some cheap D-ball. Boom, boom. Maybe cheap Anadrol here and there. I get a good deal on something. But like minimum, like nothing. And then contest prep was like, okay, well, I'm going to get like, a bottle of Winnie. And
a bottle.
I need like maybe a bottle of Clen. Like
that's how we did it. Winnie, and that was also the same with food, though. If you remember, I'm sure you were the same, Ron. Like, I used to know I needed lean protein for this many meals and a fatty protein for this, and I'd go to the store based on what was on sale is what I bought. What is the cheapest thing you have? Oh, crap, I hate fish. It's the cheapest. All right, we're getting fish this week.
Yeah.
You're eating a lot of ground beef right now. Chicken's expensive.
Yeah, exactly. That was literally how all my decisions were made, was because I had a locked-in amount of money per week I could afford for food. Yeah. So that was how I approached the grocery store. And back then, I'm sure you guys have been there, you're holding the money and doing math while you're shopping.
Yes. Yeah.
I've had multiple times where I had to take something out of the cart. I'm like, damn it, 104. I only had 100. Pull this out.
Yeah. I was like bouncing in nightclubs, like living check to check, and I was 300 pounds. So I don't, the guys now that spend all this money on all these things, like, I don't know. I just think it's, and it's not that, hey, if you want to spend the money, spend the money. But I'm just thinking like, the only supplement I bought was creatine and protein. That was it for like years. And even then I got like good deals because I had friends that worked at stores and they'd give me like the cracked lids and the crooked labels and like I was using whatever brand was like free or cheap,
right?
And so it's just like what's really important. I'm not saying these other things aren't nice to have, like fancy, supplements and big counter covered with vitamins and all that stuff. It's nice to have, and maybe it'll make you better faster, maybe. But the basics are what really, really, really matter. And Dusty nailed it. Mindset. You know, and I loved every minute of it. And it didn't it wasn't destroying me and destroying my relationships and, you know, all that stuff. I was having fun. I had fun with it. It was always fun.
Yep.
You know, I hear guys now like, oh, I need a break from bodybuilding. Like, I just got to take a month. Like, I need a mental break from bodybuilding. I'm like, bodybuilding was my mental break for like decades. I was on a mental break from normal life.
Exactly. I don't deal with this right now. I'm heading to the gym.
Yeah. Like, that was that's what made me happiest. And I see some guys now, they say, oh, I need a break from bodybuilding right now. Like, you know, with the wife and with this and that, you know,
you got to eat, right? You do have to eat still, right? Like, you got to consume food, you know, so just eat.
Exercise is good for you. So like, just try to enjoy it.
Yeah.
And
off season doesn't take,
yeah, I get contest prep's a different thing. Like, you know, that gets like tough, but yeah, off season should just be like easy.
Just background.
Like, you have a window open on your computer and you're just letting something run.
Yeah. And that's the best way to do it too. If you're watching the pot boil, it takes a lot longer. You know what I mean? Versus just keep doing what you got to do every day, do it hard. And then 6 months go by and you go, oh, wow. You know, put a big t-shirt on too. I feel like that's a good idea. Something that's, you can't see what's going on. You just leave it covered up.
I think of the amount of times people ask me, how's training going? And I think like 99.99% of the time, my answer was awesome, even if it wasn't.
Yeah.
Like, maybe awesome, and then in my mind it'd be like, oh yeah, my shoulder's been bugging me for a month. But
yeah,
I didn't start with like, oh, well, you know, this and that. It's like, it was just awesome. It's awesome. It's always awesome.
Do you guys remember, or, you know, did you have a pretty blatant time where you realized you had truly started to look like a bodybuilder? Like, whether it was in the mirror, in a picture, when you were, you know, growing? Because when I started bodybuilding, I was just a big guy. I stayed a big guy for a while, where if someone would bump me, like, oh, you play ball or something, you know? So I was curious, like, did you have a moment, Ron, where you're like, holy shit, I'm a bodybuilder?
I got a few of those because, you know, I went through that phase. Like I said, I was 300 pounds, but, you know, there was a lot of Burger King in there, and, you know, we weren't worried about holding water, and we weren't worried about having a big moon face and stuff. So I had a period of time where I also lived in Edmonton at the time, and there was a lot of pro wrestlers in Edmonton and like a lot of that sort of thing. And there's a lot of football in Edmonton, right? So I had people be like, oh, you play ball or you pro wrestle? Like, I used to get those questions too. But I remember one night I was bartending. This would have been like 2002. I mean, I was big at this point. Like, you know, I was like, I'd already hit 300, you know, 310 at this point. I remember I was bartending one night, and this girl came up to the bar, and she looked at me. She goes, holy shit, you're a fucking unit.
I love it.
And I looked at her and I laughed, and she's like, you're just fucking traps and shoulders. And I was like, oh, I look bigger than I realize.
Which she can't not point it out immediately. Yeah. She wanted to just order a drink, but she had to do that first.
Because, like, you know, you're surrounded by people. My whole life was just going to the gym and then going to work. So everyone at work, I worked with all these other. I worked all the doormen at the bar I bartended at were big. Right. Everyone worked out. A lot of all my friends worked out. The gym I worked out at is a bodybuilding gym. So, like, people didn't say that stuff to me all the time. But then you get the odd customer that would just be like, what the fuck is going on? You know, like, so I remember that. I'll never forget that. I just laughed.
That's freaking amazing.
You realize that you look beyond normal at some point. Like, it's not football player or whatever.
That was kind of why I asked her, because that's what I liked about the process was, like we said in the beginning, you just started training. And I did the same. I just trained and ate. And fortunately, the gym that it was at is still open. But I was doing dumbbell shoulder presses one day, and I brought the weight down and put them down. I had my head down for a second, and I looked in the mirror, and all at once I was like, I don't look like a big guy anymore. I look like a bodybuilder. Like, it just, it's as if I didn't look that way yesterday. But for whatever reason, I caught it. And I feel like that's the part that a lot of guys miss now, and girls, because the chase for a pro card is the most important thing, or whatever other piece.
Right.
And it's like, I just wanted to be a freak. And one day I looked and I was like, oh, there it is. Glad to have that.
Yeah.
Welcome back. Did something get delivered?
No, I had a client that stopped by. I thought he was going to stop by a little bit later, but he had to stop by quickly. So just to pay me. So it's all good.
You can bring Bunny anytime to my house.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
What did I miss?
Nothing. Me and Dusty.
Just rambling like we always do. I
have a good
one. I have a good one, actually. Brandon Beckrich actually wrote this, and he is still a monster.
What a great bodybuilder that guy is.
One of my favorite bodybuilders who never turned pro. It was
amazing. He's a great guy.
This is why I say having a pro card isn't the thing.
He's
you see him walking down the street today, and you'd be like, "Oh, you're a pro." Like now, not was, Yeah. So, but here was this question. We're obviously not as big as we used to be and long since retired. Do you have any struggles mentally with downsizing or not having quite the same look as you used to? I thought this was interesting.
I think I'm doing really well. I thought it might be harder than it is. I think I'm doing really well because I'm I've got these positives, obviously, like I got other hobbies that I focus on. So I have these other things that I can make like little tiny little bits of progress on, which is kind of what's really, I think, the bottom line is I need to have something that I'm working on. Like I have to have my own little construction project to sort of replace bodybuilding. So whatever that is, right? And I'm still training all the time, which is fun. And, I think I'm doing pretty good. I'd actually like to be lighter, which I know I love food and I love working out. So that's why I'm as heavy as I am. Like I'm still 240. And
you hang out with me 6 times a year. It really screws you.
Every time I get under 240 and every time I start to think maybe I can get to 235, I have to go see Dusty and then I'm 244 and I'm like, and
never fails. Never fails.
No, I'm pretty good. My problems are more, I'm irritated by like some of the physical issues I have with injuries, like my one tricep and my one lat. I have problems with them. Like my one tricep's pretty flat and I'm like, fuck, I wish it wasn't. And my one calf is like my one inside head of my one calf is like a mess. And that really bothers me. I just fuck, I wish that didn't happen. I don't know what it was. Doctors have looked at it, had MRIs. They're like, I don't know. You wore it out. You did so many reps. Yeah, something happened there, there's nothing they can really fix or anything. So those bother me more. It's not the size. I don't mind size. I wish I had like a little bit more symmetry on some of my body parts, a little more cosmetic stuff. But I don't care about the size. I actually want to be lighter. So
right. What about you, Scott?
I mean, I haven't downsized a ton, because I wasn't the size of either of you guys. But I'll say this, that it is, I think, easier for people to deal with bringing the size down when it's a decision they made. If it's something that was taken away from them, it's a lot more difficult. And that's I've seen that just in friends over the years, and there's a lot of psychology to that too, So I would say I'm all right with it because like I said, I'm not like a ton smaller than I was before. But I to be honest, it's not something it's not what I exactly want, but it is what it is. I'm at peace with it, I guess is what I would say. And like you, Ron, what I found is that having other things, like that's why like at one point I really got into shooting and I found like, I can really put a lot of focus into this because I couldn't train the way that I wanted to. And now I kind of like got back into the point where I'm like, you know what? I enjoy just being able to do what I can in the gym. And that's kind of like what the spirit of bodybuilding is to me. Not some days I can have some really freaking good days. Like when we trained at RTB, man, for me, that was a hard workout and I had a freaking blast, and I'm grateful that I can get workouts in like that when I can get them,
Yeah, that was great. Right. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
That's all.
I just see things. I'm old enough. Like I'm going to be 49 next month.
Yeah.
And that's just staggering to me, as I was like, Jesus, I don't even know what happened. But I just see everything I do now as like trying to live longer and be healthy. And like I hit the sprint bike twice this week, real hard, like just crushed it. And, you know, got my heart rate up, like just smoked it on the sprint bike. And, you know, I weight trained 4 times, did sprint bike twice, rode, probably did 5 hours on my bike this week. I had 3 sessions. I rode like hours and hours this week. I got a lot of exercise in this week. So I'm just looking at total volume of exercise and how healthy that is for me and longevity. And I'm just trying to be super fit and active and, you know, heal up my hip is obviously still a problem, but it's getting better. I'm making progress, and I'm just like trying to always just stay positive and just have like really high level of output in whatever way I can.
Yeah. Yeah. Somebody asked me, because a good friend of mine, I was talking to her about how I was doing some stuff with my diet, and she said, well, what's your goals? And without thinking about it, I wasn't like, oh, I'm trying to put on 10 more pounds. I said, I want to, a little bit of fat loss and to improve my cardio endurance. Like I want to see, like I can tell now that when I do my cardio, it's a lot harder to get my heart rate up, and anything I can do to help my breathing is to my benefit. So I just want to keep. It was interesting though, because I realized without even thinking about it, it wasn't like, 10 pounds, it was like, cardio endurance and fat loss. That's what I'm looking for.
That's kind of, Ron, how old were you when you started backing down intentionally? I can't remember.
It was like, I tore my quad in 2016.
Yeah.
And then 2017, I was kind of messing around trying to get like my leg back to full size,
Yeah.
And when we opened the gym in October of 2017, it had been almost a year of rehab, and I was 300 pounds again.
Right.
And then pretty much right after that, I was like, screw it. I'm done.
Yeah.
Right.
And so it was like 2018, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, and into 24. So it's been like 7 years since I made the decision. It's probably been 6 years since I used like any anabolics other than just TRT.
Right.
Like for the most part, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think there was that one time I was going to do that movie. So I did 3 weeks of sauce just to see if I could harden up like crazy, and then I didn't get the role. I was like, fuck, so I just went off, just some, but for the most part, I've been doing TRT for, I'd say like 6 years, give or take a little bit of plus here and there.
Right.
So,
yeah, I thought it was a great question, because the way I see it, if you're truly what I consider a bodybuilder, which has nothing to do with the stage, if you're truly somebody who's focused on putting on size and been strong and spent years doing it, I think you guys kind of nailed it, which is, for me, when it's done and I'm like actively trying to shrink, I have to put that energy somewhere or I'll lose my mind, because I can't go to the gym when I'm done and be like, I'm going to deadlift today, I'm hoping to get 315 for 5. That won't be fun for me. I need a new challenge that's completely different. And I want to choose something physically different.
How many can I smoke in one day?
That I'm doing pretty well now. Actually, I think I'm an expert. But I do think that is the key for people and why they get trapped, because, I decided for fun to just eat a little more and train like I used to and see what happened. And I was 295 yesterday. I was like, it's back. So I have no, but the first thought, you guys, I wish we'd gotten a picture. I was so mad that we didn't, but I went to get a new shirt and I put a button up on, and as soon as I put it on, I went, oh shit.
So there's no point in bringing that 3X to the Olympia for you.
I'm going to come back down. But I did. I literally had to get Nikki to get the shirt off of me without me tearing it. And I was like, well, we now know where the number is, where I can't buy clothes off the rack. Once you go above the 290, it's over. It's done. But I think of it the opposite way now. Like when I'm 265, 270, I can buy clothes. I'm comfortable. I don't breathe hard. Like there's just a million things that were great. And like you were saying about the cardiovascular side, I strained my calf really bad about 3 weeks ago, to the point I can't walk on a treadmill at a decent pace. So I haven't done any cardio in 3 weeks. Life sucks. when you can't breathe right. Because I can train, but when I get done with a set, it takes me 45 to 60 seconds of heavy breathing before I'm back. Whereas when you're in shape, you're breathing hard for like 20 seconds. They're like, okay, we're ready. I mean, losing cardio is not what it was when I was younger. I'm like, this is the worst thing ever. First off, I have no time to watch television because that's when I watch it. And I'm in horrible shape right now. If I see a flight of stairs, I'm screwed. I'm like, are you kidding me? 295, fat, and I can't breathe. Awesome.
I bought a pair of dress pants yesterday off the rack.
Oh, that's a win.
We went into the mall. We went to the first store. It's a pretty good store. Like, you know, it cost like, it was like pretty good clothes. Like they cost like $145 for this pair of pants. So it's not like super cheap. But we went in and there was tailored fit and slim fit. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to get slim fit. I'll get the tailored fit. So I tried them on and they fit nice standing. But when I went to sit, holy shit. Because you know how bodybuilder thighs are. Standing, they're different. When you sit, everything like the adductors push out. Man, I was like, I said that because Emily goes, they look great on you walking around. Like they're not tight. They like have some hang.
Fit the way they're supposed to.
But then they like totally worked. But when I went to sit, I'm like, man, I'm not sure I'm going to make it through a day with these sitting. Like if I got to sit down, even sit in my truck. Yeah, like they were fucking tight. Like really tight. Like I couldn't even pinch material on them if I was sitting.
Yeah.
And so the sales girl goes, well, why don't you try the slim fit ones? Because they're way stretchier.
Yes, that's the answer, man.
And I was like, I don't want to wear slim fit. That's like emitting defeat. You know? And she goes, no, I'll just try them on. And I look at Emily. I'm like, Emily's like, she like puts her hand on my shoulder. She's like, you okay? Like it's okay.
time.
I still love you.
I still see you as 310.
Yeah. It's not like the old jeans that say Husky on the back. People won't know.
Yeah. So she gets me the slim fits and I put them on and they're definitely like not as baggy standing. They're not tight though. They're not like fitted jeans. They're not like you see the guys with like, you know,
like leggings.
It's not like the guys that are trying to show off their quads and calves by wearing like ultra tight pants. They're just a real slim fitting dress pant. And I'm like, well, you know, these look okay. And Emily's like, they look pretty much like the other ones. They're just a little bit less baggy.
Yep. That's what I wear, but you do have to be careful because you can go like one size down and it gets that legging effect.
And then when I went to sit down, all the stretch in the world.
Yep. Like
we're talking like incredible amounts of stretch in the like no worries at all. And I was like, oh, this is so I have a decision. I either buy the slim fit and become someone I didn't think I ever would be, or we go to 3 other stores. And I think you all know me well enough.
Yes. Yeah, I already knew the answer.
To know that I have an opportunity to wrap this up. Slam dunk. We're done for the day, and it's off to the food court.
Yeah.
And so that's what we did. Fucking pants in the bag. Here's the card. Food court. Here we go.
Nice. You got to remember, too. Remember this, Ron, when you're struggling with that. Jay Cutler wears skinny jeans now. And that's all you need to know.
He also
Jay is always Jay.
That's good.
So he still has the calves for it, though. That's the thing. You still know he's Jay. That's the thing.
Yeah, I look at things so backwards. I see them like, look at Jay. He gets to dress awesome now. Yeah. This is great.
I was laughing. I think of Jay downsizing because I remember when I was talking to him about it. I've said this before, but I'm like, man, you still look like $1 million. I said that to him one time I saw him and he was wearing like a sleeveless shirt. Like, you still look like $1 million. And he leans in and like almost like he's whispering. He goes, dude, I got no back. My back's gone. It's like, it's gone. He goes, as soon as you stop lifting heavy, he goes, my back was just purely manufactured.
Wow.
He said, you know what I mean? He's like completely manufactured. Like it was all like mechanical tension and loading and like that. My back was completely made of like T-bars and dumbbells and cable rows. And now that I train the way I do, my arms stayed, my legs, my quads are still freaky striated and look crazy. He's like, my
back's no back.
That's all right. You don't see your back in pictures. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You don't see your back when you're staying on stage holding a microphone.
I just
You'd
laughed
rather
at
your back goes than your arms. Let's be honest.
Yeah, I just laughed at the word he used. My back was completely manufactured.
That is good.
I think you know what I will say this too for those that are struggling with this, because I have seen it many times. You got to get out of your head, because Ron gets more compliments now from guys who are either still competing or whatever. Every show someone walks up and goes, "God, you look awesome," because he's always peeled and he's still big. He's just not 320, 330 anymore.
Right.
Like not a normal size. No one's thinking he doesn't train his ass off still. It's just a different look. And I remember because the first show that we did after Ron had come down quite a bit, he showed up to the booth in a t-shirt. And I'm like, get the fuck out with that t-shirt. I was like, we're at a booth. And he came the next day with a tank top, and then everyone was like, Ron, you look so good. Holy, because he was like hiding his conditioning by wearing a t-shirt. I'm like, what?
Yeah,
what
I
are
thought
you
it was
doing?
t-shirt time for me. I thought
Yeah. We
then
retired
the next
t-shirts.
level for that is you wear the collared polo shirt like the sales guys.
Yeah, he's never reaching t-shirt or collared time, because I think the next day it was proven correct when he got 1 million. I'm like, told you.
I try to remind people, though, the veiny arms, I had those in grade 12 because I used to tape my football jersey up behind my arm to show off my bicep vein.
Nice.
And then all the other coaches on the opposing team would be like, that linebacker with the visor, he's on steroids. And I wasn't.
Yeah.
But
A vein definitely means that.
Yeah, I had a big vein in my bicep in high school, and I had the jersey taped up behind the arm, and I had the visor.
Was there ever moments where like the opposing coaches did say like something about you, like, hey, that guy, he's using drugs?
My coach told me, he's like, yeah, so the coach from so-and-so came up to me and he said, you got a linebacker on steroids. And I just laughed and I go, no, you don't know that kid. and it was pretty funny.
Jose got tested a bunch in high school. You know that?
I waited till I was done. High school ball to hit the sauce. So yeah.
I love that you call it sauce. That's such the term that you would use back then.
Yeah.
Good stuff. All right.
Is that it?
That's it.
I think we're wrapping that up. Okay.
Yeah, I'm calling that a win.
So I hope, God, I hope you people got something valuable out of that. Because to be honest, I barely remember it.
Already
almost 2 hours there.
Just going.
Well, I look forward to seeing some of you at the Olympia, and make sure you come to the booth, and we're going to be recording. So pester us and hound us and all that. And you know what? I almost forgot, because last episode we got so distracted by our technical difficulties that I forgot to do this. And I got to make sure I do it for this episode.
Oh, yes.
Gotta say, yeah, because we got a very, very special fan. I just wanted to make sure. Yeah, wanted to make sure I pull this up. But I wanted to say from Jerry and Lisa, I wanted to say happy birthday to Lisa.
Yes.
I'm just pulling up the actual text message here, Mike. For some reason, it's like loading and loading and loading and loading.
Oh, I think you sent it to us. So.
It was her birthday like a week ago, and I was supposed to wish her a happy birthday, and then we had the tech difficulty with Justin, so we never started for like 40 minutes, and just forgot. But Jerry and Lisa, they come to the booth and they say hi to us sometimes. And is that the Olympia or the Arnold? I always get because our fans are so awesome.
You can't even remember what happened earlier in this show, so
I can't even remember.
What happened. What are you trying to do?
Yeah, I think it was the Olympia they came by last time, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I can't remember.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Olympia, for sure.
Happy birthday to Lisa. And
Yes.
it's the people like you that listen to all the episodes and support us and come by the booth and say hi. And it's just really appreciated. So I hope you had a good one. They also had their anniversary recently. And and so I want to wish them a happy anniversary as well from us. So
yes, absolutely.
Everybody at Think Big. And that's the last 5 Minute Crew little thing for them. So hopefully they watch the end of the episode.
Absolutely.
Okay. Remember, like, share, subscribe, comment, and
ring the bell.
Yes. Remember, IamMutant.com, 20% off. Use your code, 𝗕cie20, Big Ron 20. keep us employed. 20% off. You know the deal. Think big. Patreon. Keep a producer homed.
Thank you, guys.
Scott's got to buy a brand new bag, so he needs another laser sighting or something. I don't know.
But it is going to the to paying for YouTube Premium for reactions. Which next time we record, I've got a reaction idea.
Yeah, we are going to start the reactions again right away. And
I do need to buy a piece of equipment for this trip. So Patreon's going to help out. It's like $400. I got to buy a piece of equipment. Basically, we need a USB mixer, which you would be familiar with those, Ron. Either that or an USB interface, which there's some cool ones out there. And it made me think, Ron, because when you were saying like getting that sound, some of these mixers and stuff, they'll be like a button, and it's like, oh, you can get like this 1970s quality sound if you hit that button. Here's 80s disc jockey sound. Yeah.
You get like the I know what you mean. The tone chasers are everywhere.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks everybody, and remember, it's just bodybuilding.